everyone. We are recording this great seminar tonight. We're going to hear from business professionals that have participated in a program that we're going to introduce to you, as well as the woman who's brought this program to Westchester County. So without further ado, good evening. Welcome, everyone. My name is Tasha Young, and I am a Greenburgh resident and an aspiring business owner myself. And tonight we're going to talk about a group that is newly formed called the Fairview Empowerment Group. And on behalf of all of us that have formed this group, we want to say welcome. I'm going to read a little bit about who we are and how we came about and what we plan to do to serve our neighbors in Greenburgh. So FEG stands for the Fairview Empowerment Group. I put a link to our web pages in the chat room. We are Fairview neighborhood leaders, activists, business owners, board members, and engaged citizens. What do we want? Our vision is to listen and take action in empowering the Fairview Greenburgh community. Our mission is to create opportunities within Fairview by amplifying community voices to improve living, economic, and social conditions. Our intention is to fulfill this mission by doing the following: creating opportunities for resident-owned businesses with training and capital development. That is what we're doing tonight. But also we want to introduce other entrepreneurial models that will include worker and community-owned businesses, and also be involved with our housing stock in Greenburgh. We want to work with the town of Greenburgh as an important stakeholder to provide support with sourcing capital, federal and state support, and zoning information. We want to enhance the food and nutritional needs with sustainable, affordable, and tasty choices, focusing on local fresh products and producers. We want to generate more local employment that provide living wages that will meet the needs of those living in Greenburgh. And lastly, we want to provide spaces for cultural enrichment, education, and community events. So how do we get there? So far, FEG has hosted two in an ongoing series of public forums in which we gather community ideas and present information on various economic empowerment options on the table for the Fairview Commercial Corridor. In our first forum, which is on our webpage, was at Town Hall, and we facilitated an introduction of our purpose and a panel presentation that provided expertise on different business models. In the second forum, we focused on a presentation on various cooperative models with FEG co-founding member Delia Marks of the Westchester Cooperative Network. Both of these forums can be seen on our website, that's in the chat. Among other partners so far are the Westchester Cooperative Network and the Westchester Youth Congress. So how can you get involved? All night, we will be asking for your email information. We want to stay in touch with you, so please put your name, any business websites or contact information, and leave your contact information for us so we can follow up. We also will put in the chat, if you are a resident of Fairview, a survey monkey, because we really want to find out from you how you would like to see our economic corridor develop and what kind of businesses you're interested in supporting. So without further ado, remember to share with us your contact information so we can keep you abreast of all updates. We welcome you to join. We welcome your businesses to join, and we welcome your governmental and not-for-profit organizations to join FEG. So without further ado, I want to introduce my dear cousin who is a launch leader, and she completed the program in the last cycle, Melanie Johnson, and she'll tell you her business. And my dear friend, Colby Jenkins, who also completed the Launch 1000 program. So Melanie and Colby, welcome. Please tell us your businesses and your story. Thank you.
Who would you like to go first?
Melanie first.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Melanie Johnson, and I'm Tasha's cousin. I am the owner and sole baker of Mel Sweet Treats. It's a home-based bakery looking to expand. I bake all types of delicious treats. You guys got to try it. A little bit, I went through the program. I'm going to say for me, the program was a little bit difficult. When I start off, because I already had what I considered a working business. So it was some of the steps I had to kind of get out of my own way. When I reached out to Deborah, she gave me the advice of either act like you don't have a business or present a new idea. And I was like, act like I don't have a business. And I was stuck on certain spots there. And I was like, I don't understand. And some of the questions were, how could you, like identifying a problem in the community or whatever, how can you fix it? And I also thought, but I sell cookies and cakes. I think I might be part of the problem. But I decided, the training helped me think a little bit more, because a lot of my answers to the questions were like basic. I was stuck on, I think, like I said, I think I'm causing the problem. I'm helping with the obesity of all of this. But the program helped me think outside of the box. So I came in with a new idea, but with the platform of expanding to food truck. So like that was my new idea. So I was able to now really dive into and take a look at and focus on the task at hand. I will tell you that it takes commitment. And some people had an idea and some people didn't. Some people launched their idea at the end of the program. Some people, like myself, added to their idea. So, I'm not really sure what else to say because I'm kind of nervous, but I will say that the Launch1000 team, they were all amazing, from the staff themselves, other launchers. I found some of my friends that I didn't know were involved until they were involved. But it's a great way to understand, like if you're coming in as an idea, you don't have, you're trying to launch, they help you to understand yourself. They help you to, like, I'm trying to remember some of the workshops. But it's really like to help you think outside the box, to, dive into your idea, pull out, ask those questions that you're not asking yourself. So that's a little bit. I wanted to say before we got started that I am going to go back into the program with another idea. I've also told my husband to go back into the program with another idea. I've met so many people. There's such a connection. You don't realize. It's Westchester, the catalyst for Westchester County, but you don't realize how many small businesses were started with this program. All over the county. I've made connections with people that I probably wouldn't have made connections with if otherwise. Some of the activities, you're to interview people and pitch your program, because you want it to be successful. So you pitch your program, and when I would have these meetings with other launchers. Personally, I would listen not as a launcher helping someone with their task, but listen as a prospective client or customer of that person, because that's ultimately what they're looking for. And even I remember one particular conversation, I think it was a healthcare situation, when the gentleman was done presenting, I sat back and I said, that was amazing. And not because you did a great job with the program. I said, I don't need those services, but we shared information because you know, it was something that's needed in the community. The feedback I gave him was, well, you know, because he was looking for an age bracket to talk to. And I said, well, I mean, I'm not in your age bracket, but I can definitely help you with information. So that helped him out. Like, maybe I should open up my circle to a different age bracket. So I hope I don't know what else to say. I hope I.
Yes.
Okay. I see.
Oh yeah, no, that was
smiling.
Yeah, I just want to recap some of what you said. We're talking about Westchester County Economic Development Agency, the Catalyst Launch 1000 program. And the woman who has brought this program to the county will speak to us, but we will hear about how many businesses have launched. To Melanie's point, we'll hear the number of businesses that have launched. And I also heard, Melanie, that you were already a business owner. And
yes.
Even if you already have a business, you can benefit from this launch program that's offered. Can you tell us some of the benefits that you experience? I know you spoke to other business owners, you got to think outside the box. Anything else?
Some other benefits. I mean, I've made connections because my expansion, like I'm looking to do food, you know, have the food truck service. There's another launcher that has a company that connects food trucks. And what I loved about the program is the Deborah and her team and other people would link people up. You should talk to this person because they have a business that works with food trucks, or you should talk to this person because I just spoke to them and they have a birthday party coming up. Maybe you can help them. You should talk to this person. Like, it was, we formed personal relationships. And I mean, they would connect us all. You know, I'm gonna just speak a little outside of my business a little bit. My daughter has sickle cell, and you know, I was connected to a person, part of the program. I just happened to see a flyer about sickle cell outreach on the Slack platform that the launchers were using. And I was just, I reached out to this person and I said, I would like to be a part of this program. I'd like to be a part of this talk or whatever. And oddly enough, it comes full circle. My daughter was in the hospital because she had COVID and she was scared that she wasn't going to make it because she had sickle cell. And I got a phone call from the social worker that gave me the name of the person. I said, well, wait a minute. I know that name. I met them at Launch 1000. Are you talking about this person? And she says, yes, she's been working with us for years. And I was like, really? And it's funny because I reached out to the person and it was weird at that moment. I'm going to call it divine intervention, but and the program, the Launch 1000, like it wasn't just a business connection. So like now, because of Launch 1000 and my daughter having sickle cell and my daughter having COVID and my daughter going to the hospital, yes, I'm ready to relaunch another organization for sickle cell through Launch 1000. Like those are the benefits. It wasn't just what I can do with Mel's Sweet Treats.
Right.
Because these are real people in Westchester trying to launch their business for whatever the reason, but like it came back full circle. So
speaking of business connection, we're going to introduce the next launcher. I want to encourage anyone that has questions for Melanie of Mel's Sweet Treats to please put them in the chat. We will take questions after Deborah's presentation. So speaking of which, I believe Melanie and Colby met at the Launch 1000 program, and Colby Jenkins is our next to speak, and she's going to tell us about her business. Colby?
We actually met at a conference in Harlem for Black businesses years ago. I actually knew Colby long before this.
Okay.
Oh, Thank you so much for having me this evening. Thank you, Melody. I thank you for sharing your experience, your strength, and your hope with us on tonight. For those that do not know me, my name is Kobe Jenkins. I am known as Aunt TT from TT Seasonings. And first and foremost, a lot of people have known me from being in the trenches with small businesses, with Women in the Black, which is a non-for-profit organization where we help women to build and grow their businesses in New York City. Through that endeavors, I was able to transfer a lot of those skill sets of which I had there into things that I've done here in Greenburgh and in Westchester. Never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that a program such as Launch1000 would come to Westchester and I would be able to utilize it in the way that I did. It came at a perfect time. It came at a time when I was really looking to pivot. And because I was looking for ways to pivot, this gave me the support. The Launch1000 program gave me the support system. It had the needs, my needs in place, such as a platform called Slack that they have, where it puts you on a group message of other launchers, where you can interact with them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I was put forth with trainers that were equipped to train us, that taught us to really look at our businesses differently. That was one of the things that I struggle with in business, right? We most of us that are entrepreneurs, we do struggle in businesses, and we struggle in receiving advice, right? Because we have a mindset on how we want our business to be. We have a mindset on what the outcome of what we want our businesses to be. And we have our mindset on who is our audience and who is our customer, who is all of these different things that pertain to our business. But what I learned in Launch1000 was that everything was up for grabs, right? New information was up for grabs, right? A renewing of my mindset was up for grabs, right? Another way to think and look at my business was up for grabs. It was so many things up for grabs, right? In Launch1000, I'm like, wait a minute, let me grab this over here. Let me get this. Let me get that. Hold on. So it was just so many different things, so many twists and turns. But the good thing about it is that you weren't twisting and turning alone. That was the thing. You were twisting, turning, your brain was being picked, all of these different things with a whole bunch of people with you. We had a tribe. I think one of my tribe people are on here, actually. I think I saw Shane. He was one of my tribe members, right? We had people that we were able to conversate with. We were able to feel comfortable with each other. And some people even switched their ideas midway, right? I know, Deborah, you've seen that too. Some people started off with one idea, and then as they got further along, they changed their idea, right? You didn't get kicked out of the program for that. You just continued on with the new idea, right? And so I just want to say that Launch1000 has forever changed my business perspective. It has changed the way that I think about my business. Through Launch1000, I was able to accomplish many different things that I wanted to do. It pushed me to the level of where I wanted to be. It actually empowered me to take things up a notch. I was able to do my LLC. I am now a proud MWBE, which is a minority business owner. I have my certification. I was able to get so many different things done. But the main takeaway that I had from Launch1000 was that I had a serious support system in place. And I have so many people that I can lean on that are in business. Because again, I relied on a lot of business people that I had in New York City. But now I have that same posse of people here in Westchester. And I've never been so proud of the way that the county has stepped up during COVID to support small businesses, and especially businesses of color, because that is very important and near and dear to my heart, is supporting women in business, women of color in business, men of color in business. And this has truly been something that I can say has really started to bring some of those things more to the surface, where we are going to start seeing more minority-owned businesses. So I'm really proud to say that I am a complete graduate of the Launch 1000 program, and I launched TT Seasonings from my initiative of Gemstar Entertainment.
Wow.
And I pivoted in that moment.
Yes, wow. I have so much to say that I'm not going to say right now, because I want to look at this background, and I have my background that's also TT Seasoning. I want to bring into this conversation Deborah Novick, who is in charge of this initiative, launching 1,000 businesses in Westchester County outside of bringing us outside of this pandemic. So without further ado, Deborah Novick.
Thank you, Tasha. It's so fun for me to hear these stories from these launchers and see some other launchers who are on the call. And I think that Melanie and Colby hit on some of the most memorable aspects of the program. I do have some slides. Is it okay if I share them?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll share some slides, and then I'll be happy to answer any questions that anybody might have afterward. Let's see if I can do this slideshow from the beginning. Okay, do you see the full screen of the slides?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to play this video at the end. You know, as Melanie and Colby were saying, there are many aspects to the program, and these are just a few additional launchers who shared some specific thoughts. There were 219 launcher graduates. There were over 800 people who applied to the program and were in the program for various lengths of time. One of the things that's true for anyone who's entrepreneurial is it has to be the right time for you and the right idea. And COVID presented an opportunity for a lot of people to reevaluate how they make a living. Sometimes those reevaluations were involuntary. Sorry? Some of the launchers, you know, had to find a new way to make a living, not of their own choosing, but many people, when there's a huge disruption like COVID, say to themselves that it's a good time to make a change, because maybe they realize that the work they've been doing is not their heart's desire, and there's never going to be a perfect time. So this is as good a time as any. But some people, you know, weren't able to make the time to be in the program, which is rigorous, as Melanie mentioned. Some people had health and childcare and homeschooling and elder care issues that made it hard for them to complete the program. But as Colby was mentioning, and I think Melanie also referred to, the online community, the Slack community, the opportunity to meet people from every town in Westchester, meet people who could be your customer or your friend or your advisor, your mentor, your partner. I think that aspect of the program was really astounding for people and very meaningful and very supportive. So I just have a few other launchers who've shared some thoughts with us here. Terlina Lugo, working in an interior design business. What she said was that Launch 1000 fostered such a nurturing environment. I've never met such encouraging people and felt like I had a whole cheerleading team behind me. An interesting story about Terlina: she was pregnant during the program. There were at least 2 babies born during the program. And in one case, I don't think it was Terlina, I think it was the other woman, brought a launcher, a new friend that she made during launch, into the delivery room with her. That was a pretty amazing testament to the relationships that were being formed. Mike Ryan, he left a long-standing job after working in corporate marketing for 20 years. COVID-19 wiped out half my industry and I was laid off. Launch 1000 allowed me to use that time to start a business for myself that was even more meaningful to me. And he's working in something to do with elder care, home, I think medical home visits for people who are homebound elderly. Eureka Morris, she makes custom greeting cards. She makes them by hand. And she's one of the launchers. There were about 5 launchers who went through the program twice during 2021 for 2 different ideas. After she finished the whole program for her greeting cards, she went through again for an accessories business. And what she said was, by having conversations with people, I've been able to do things without spending money. Launch 1000 taught me how to make sure I'm not pouring money into something that's going down the drain. And actually, Eric Stevens made a similar point. I would have gone through a great deal of time and financial resources that frankly I can't recoup. This course taught me it's possible to look at my venture in an objective way and remove all the elements that would cause failure. So that's also what Colby was referring to. Everything is up for grabs. Everything is up for reevaluation. And that reevaluation, that consideration of every aspect of what you're going to do or what you are doing, we call that de-risking. And that's what this program is all about. Why am I not able to change the slide? Okay, so so a little bit about the program. I brought the program to Westchester thanks to the support of the county executive and everybody on his team, but I am not delivering the program. We are partnered with Pam Holzel and the whole Entrepreneur Ready team. That's the name of the platform that we utilize, Entrepreneur Ready. Launch 1000 is our like white label, private label version of Entrepreneur Ready. And she has expert coaches who work directly one-on-one with each launcher, sort of behind the scenes one-on-one as you're doing your exercises and assignments. They're the ones who are giving feedback and really making sure you're getting the most out of the program. Pam has a really interesting story. She had a very successful hair care business, which she sold. And then she decided to launch a second business, which failed miserably. And so she had this realization that just because you've launched one thing successfully doesn't mean you can be successful the next time, but it shouldn't be that way. There should be some central set of skills that you could develop and utilize to make sure that you wouldn't fail miserably. And so she set out on a quest to figure out what that was. And she worked in student entrepreneurship, Hugh, going back to what we were gabbing about earlier. She worked at one of the universities in Florida for more than 10 years, coaching student entrepreneurs and really refining her methodology for taking the risk out of a new idea. And she developed Entrepreneur Ready out of those experiences. So how does the program work? This is not a course. You're not auditing it. You're not sitting in a classroom. There's no teacher. There's no, test and grade at the end. This is learn by doing. I do think that Colby and Melanie each gave a sense of that. The way the program works is there are short videos. There are little trainings. Everything is broken down into step-by-step bits so that you're really only focusing on one aspect at a time. You watch this short video where Pam teaches you something, and then you have to take some action. You have to apply that learning to your business idea. And so that action might be thinking. It might be talking to people. It might be doing some research about competitors. It might be talking to potential customers. It might be physically making something. So there's some kind of action that you have to do in order to apply the learning to your idea and then move your business along, move your idea along. Think about whether you're doing it just right or whether you want to tweak something. The roadmap that we use has probably 80 to 100 of these individual steps where you're learning something and applying it. The program's completely free for Westchester residents. There's no cost at all to participate. And the program is completely agnostic as to whether you're doing a product business, a service business. You could be doing a nonprofit or a social enterprise or a for-profit. You could be working on a small idea like a a side gig, a side hustle, turning a hobby into, you know, a little bit of income, pocket money. You could be working on a global exporting business idea. It really doesn't matter. It's really about the skills of evaluating every aspect of your business idea before taking it to market. The program is open to everyone in Westchester, and I will say that it's very important to us that people in every zip code not only know about the program, but participate. We really want to have a diverse cohort in the program, and we're very proud of the diversity we had in the program last year, and I hope that we'll do even better this year. So any Westchester resident can apply. It doesn't matter if you're working, you know, again, on a for-profit, a not-for-profit, a social venture, doesn't matter at all. We actually don't care if you have an idea yet. We don't evaluate your idea. The very first phase of the program will help you choose an idea to work on if you don't have an idea. And if you have several ideas, which is common, it will also help you sort through those ideas and decide which one to focus on as you go through the program. It's a rigorous program. So we hope that people who come into the program are not only serious about launching when the program ends, but also that they have the time to—
Yeah, it's like all part of like forecasting and planning.
That they have the time to participate in the program. And we recommend setting aside about 10 hours a week, starting in April. Everybody will start in April. And last year, the typical launcher spent 6 to 8 months on the program. So we're recommending that you really think through the idea that you have enough time to make the most of it. Melanie mentioned that she already had a business and it was a little hard for her to figure out how to make the best use of the program because she already had a business. This program is not designed for a business that's really doing well and is in growth mode. We have other programs and there are other wonderful resources around the county that can help business owners who are in growth mode. I mean, we certainly don't want to discourage any business that's growing nicely, but this is just not the right program for that. So if anyone on this call is in that situation, or if people you know are in that situation, they can reach out to me and I'll be happy to point them in a direction of something that can work better for them, but this is really not the program for that. So I want to tell you something about the participants from last year. As I mentioned, we were aiming for participation from every zip code in the county. You may not know this, but we have 85 zip codes in our county, so that was a tall order, but we did achieve that. And we're very proud of, as I mentioned, you know, the diversity in the participants. So the way we think of it is that there are 5 regions in Westchester. There's the southern towns, the Sound Shore communities, the river towns, the towns up in northern Westchester, and the towns in the central or mid-county area. And you can see on this donut that we had fairly well distributed participation from all 5 of those parts of the county, between 15 and 25%, you know, all around the county. So we thought that was good. It indicated that we were really reaching people everywhere around the county. But the other things that we cared about were that we had diversity by age, by education level, by ethnicity, race, immigration status, you know, all the different parts of our population. And I'm very happy to say that the participation from the Black and African American community was over 40%. That was the highest percentage of any group that we measured. There was participation from white residents of Westchester in the 30% range. We did have very low participation from the Latino community. Only 7% of launchers came from the Latino community. And we know that there is over 25% of our overall population are Latino. And so we know that we have more work to do in terms of outreach to the Latino community. And that's one of the main reasons that we pushed Entrepreneur Ready to be able to introduce a Spanish language program this year, which we're very proud that we will have. And I'm hopeful that that's going to really make it easier for us to get good participation from the Hispanic community. So over 73% of the 219 graduates come from some minority group or another. Over 65% of the participants had no prior business ownership experience. So that really speaks to the idea that the program is for the earliest stage businesses, and that, if you're in growth mode, that was a smaller participation in the overall launcher population were people who already had a business like Melanie. And I guess, Colby, it sounds like you already had at least one business before. We do have a woman who graduated from the program this year. Her name is Marcy, and she has 5 businesses, and she came into the program with one idea and ended up pivoting from her 4th idea to her 5th idea. But she told us when the program ended that she learned so much despite having already operated 5 different businesses. There were things that she had just never thought of before and never learned before. And so that just speaks to the idea that even if you've had significant business ownership experience or business management experience, that you can still learn something in this program. The most important thing, though, is, what are the results? Is the program helping people? And are they getting their idea off the ground? So the wonderful thing is that over 60% of the graduates had already started generating revenue from customers or donors, or they received some funding during the program. So funding could mean they borrowed money through Kiva or from community capital or from a bank, or they had some investors who came into the business with them to help them get it off the ground. And if you include other kinds of measurements of traction, so we call it an MOU, a memorandum of understanding, maybe it's a joint venture, a partnership, maybe it was a large purchase order that you didn't actually get paid for yet, but you had a commitment from a potential customer, from an actual customer, then you get up to 83% of our graduates having measurable traction by the time they ended the program. Now, we will continue to stay in touch with all of our launchers for the next 2 years, and we will be tracking how they're doing and monitoring their progress and helping them, supporting them as well, but really trying to see what kind of impact does the program have over a long period of time on the economy of Westchester and on these individual families. And so I believe that these numbers, as we measure them going forward, will be significantly higher, but pretty strong results already that the vast majority of the people who graduated from the program were in a position to really get their venture off the ground. So a little bit more about how the program works. We were talking before the program really got underway about some of the benefits of being able to do things, remotely and online. And this program is 100% remote and online. So there are 4 types of activities that you participate in when you're a launcher. The first is this green slice of pie, the online learning, and that's when you're working on the platform itself, listening to those video trainings, communicating with your coach. The vast majority of the time you'll spend is this, working on your idea out in the world. And that's what Colby was talking about everything being up for grabs, and what Melanie was talking about, listening to other people's pitches and giving feedback. As you do the online learning, you then have these assignments, you have these, you have to apply what you've learned to your idea. And so you have to get out in the world, out of your head, out of your home office. Maybe you can do some of that working on your idea out in the world online, but you might also need to meet with people, visit other stores, visit other businesses, call potential suppliers. So that's the biggest part of the program, and why I say this is learn by doing. This is not a passive sit in a classroom kind of thing. If you're not doing this 55% of the time working on your idea, actually thinking through, shifting, pivoting, iterating, improving your idea, then you're really not getting the most out of the program. So that's the vast majority of your time, 80% of your time. And those 2 pieces are mandatory. You can't complete the program without doing those two things. These other two things, live workshops and community forum, they take up much less time. They're optional. They're very much recommended. They're very beneficial, but they're optional. So the community forum is what Colby was referring to, the Slack community. I think Melanie also referred to this. This is where you're meeting the other launchers in this giant chat room. This is where you're testing ideas, asking for feedback, making friends, looking for people to be in your tribe, looking for your accountability partner. So that's the online forum, the community forum. And, you know, you could participate in that as much or as little as you want. Again, not mandatory, but certainly beneficial. And then there are the live workshops. So each phase of the program has its own workshops. So during those live workshops, which are on Tuesday nights and Thursday nights, you're participating in a discussion and a training and a Q&A session with people who are doing the exact same phase of the program as you are. So they're working on the same learnings and the same assignments and having the same aha moments and figuring out the same elements of their idea as you are. And then when you're ready to move to the next phase, you go into a different time slot for your live workshop, and you may be with the same people if they're moving at the same pace as you, or you may be with different people if you're working faster or slower. So those live workshops, sometimes there's an inspirational speaker, a successful entrepreneur. Sometimes there's a subject matter expert who might be there talking about a particular topic. But frequently they're open discussion about the challenges of the particular phase that you're in. Again, optional, but very valuable and highly recommended. The live workshops are the only thing that happens at a set time, Tuesday evenings. Everything else you can do completely on your own time of your choosing. If you work 2 jobs, you can do it when you're not working. You know, if you work days, you can do this in the nights. If you work nights, you can do this in the days. The only thing that's scheduled are those live workshops. So I think I mentioned most of this already. We do recommend that you put in at least 10 hours a week over the next 6 to 8 months to get the most out of the program. Everybody will be starting in April. I admitted 200 people who will be starting next Monday, April 4th. We'll admit people every Monday in April. And each person will need to complete the first phase of the program within 2 weeks. 2 weeks is more than enough time to complete phase 1 of the program. But one of the things we learned last year is that if we don't move people along at a steady pace, we let them take as long as they want to do each phase, then there's a giant rush at the end, like a huge traffic jam of people trying to finish and racing through some of the important steps. And it really wasn't good for the coaches, and it really wasn't that great for the launchers. So what we've decided to do this year is move people along steadily. We'll have deadlines for the end of each phase. The deadlines will be well publicized, so nobody will be surprised. And the deadlines will be a sufficient amount of time to finish the particular phase, as long as you're putting in the time every week. And so the first phase will be allotting 2 weeks. So if you or anyone you know is in the program, we really want people to start right away on the assigned Monday. We want them to go to the very first workshop right away on the first Tuesday, so that they can really get started, get oriented, get onboarded into the program, and, you know, sort of jump in with both feet. We do have this dual language cohort this year, which is so exciting for us. We did notice that there were Spanish speaking participants last year who were not able to complete the program because they had a language barrier. And although there were some Spanish speaking people who were very determined and really leaned hard on the coaches to help them as they went through the program, we know that it will be a lot easier for Spanish speakers this year, because we'll have the video training with Spanish subtitles. We'll have Spanish speaking coaches who will work with the Spanish speaking participants. So all the worksheets and everything will be able to be submitted in Spanish, and the feedback will be provided in Spanish. the online forum, the Slack channel, the Slack community. There will be both Spanish and English sections of the online forum. And so we're really, really excited about the possibilities of expanding access to the Hispanic community. I mentioned that, you know, the first group of launchers, that's an English-speaking cohort, will begin on Monday, April 4th. Those 200 people were admitted today. There will be another cohort of people starting on Monday, April 11th, and then on Monday, April 18th, all the Spanish-speaking dual language participants will start. And so applications will be open right through April 14th, Friday, April 14th, which I think is Good Friday. And then applications will close and everybody will be in, I hope. The program is, you know, largely online, so you do have to have technology to do it successfully, but we don't want that to be a barrier for anyone. And we are making tablets or laptops available and Wi-Fi for those who need that. This really isn't a program that can be done successfully on a smartphone. So you do need to have a desktop, a tablet, or a laptop. And anyone who needs help securing those should let us know. So I mentioned that applications are open now and they will close on April 14th. And everybody who joins Launch 1000 will start on one of the 4 Mondays in April. Unfortunately, it's a very tight window, and that's why I'm working so hard to spread the word, and I hope you'll help me spread the word. But we will be shutting, you know, applications in April, and then people will be working through the program the rest of the year, but there won't be another open enrollment period during 2022. These are some frequently asked questions, and I'll go over them. And then, of course, I'd like to hear if there are any questions from the group. And there is a much longer FAQ on the Westchester Catalyst website and the Launch 1000 section, where you can also see a lot of videos of launcher success stories. You can see the directory of all the launchers, so you can get a sense of what kinds of businesses they have and maybe even become a customer of some of them. We have the application online, of course, and we have a big overview page, more detail than I've given on this session. And we have all those pages that I just mentioned in both English and Spanish, as well as we're having information sessions just like this one. Every week we have 2 English information sessions that I lead and 2 Spanish information sessions that are led by my bilingual colleagues at the office. And there's a page on the website that lists the dates and times of those sessions and the registration links. As you've already heard, some of our launcher graduates are planning to go in again. So yes, someone who was in the program last year is welcome to go into the program again this year with a new business idea. But I do always caution people that, you know, anytime you take your attention, your full focus and attention away from one idea, you're going to slow down the progress of that idea. So you're welcome to come into the program again and work on a second idea, but you might want to really think carefully about, you know, what is the trade-off there? If your first idea is going to slow down, if it's going to take much longer to make a meaningful business out of your first idea, is it really worth it to explore your second idea? I know entrepreneurs are idea people and they always have so much rolling around in their head, and it's hard to keep them from pursuing a second idea, but it does slow things down in your first idea. You can definitely change your idea after you enter the program. We would really be disappointed if you didn't improve your first idea after entering the program. But if you decide that your first idea is not going to work, or it's just not exciting to you and you have a different idea, you can of course switch. No problem with that. If you have more than one idea, you can really only have one account. You can only be going through the program for a single idea, but the program itself will help you decide on which of your many ideas to choose in phase 1 or phase 2. You'll have narrowed it down. For graduates of the program, we did introduce a Launch 1000 alumni support program this year, and the first workshop for that program was last week. Pam Miner, who is or was on this call, is leading that program for us. It's really terrific. There are workshops, there are small sounding board groups, and there will be one-on-one support as well. So we definitely want to be sure that we continue to help our launchers move their businesses along after they finish the program. And we'll also be pointing them to other organizations around the county that have a lot to offer as well. It doesn't have to just be support by the county itself. And last, people always ask, of course, you need money when you launch a new business. There is a small grant available to everybody who completes the program, $1,000 completion grant. Here's my contact information, and should feel free to reach out to me if you have questions that don't get answered tonight, or if you know someone who wasn't on the call tonight that might like to ask me some questions. Corazon Pineda and Martha Lopez are my Spanish-speaking colleagues. So if there are people that need to ask questions in Spanish, they're free to contact those two lovely ladies. I'm going to stop sharing now and see if there are any questions, or Tasha, whatever you want to do next.
Sure. Thank you so much, Deborah. We're going to go straight to questions. I did see one question so far, and I'm going to rely on our chair, our interim chair, Johan, to read that, if you will, sir.
Yeah, actually, it's my question. Deborah, thanks so much for taking the time to share the information about this program. It sounds awesome. I'm curious about the computers that you mentioned would be available for participants. How do they go about getting access to them if by chance they don't have those type of assets available to them?
So there's a place on the application where they indicate if they need help with a computer or with Wi-Fi. The honest truth is that we placed a large order for laptops months and months ago, and our order of laptops is stuck in the supply chain problem, just like everybody else's. So right at the moment, I have a small number of laptops in my office that were returned to us from launchers that left the program last year. The laptops are on loan, and if you leave the program, you're intended to return them to us. Unfortunately, not everybody returned their laptop, but I do have a small number of laptops in the office that anyone who needs them, I'm happy to lend them out until they're gone. But I am working on identifying other sources of computers. I'm in some discussions with the STEM Alliance. I'm in some discussions with the Westchester Library System. And I have these other laptops on order if they ever show up. So there are a few possibilities, but the simple answer is you let me know. And if I have one in my office, I give it to you.
Wonderful. Rachel has a question. She needs to understand the role of the coaches a little bit better.
So, I mentioned that that there's these video learnings, and then there's an assignment. So the assignment might be filling out a worksheet. The assignment might be writing out your thoughts about something. The assignment might be finding out the prices that other people charge for a similar thing to what you're selling. So then there's a way inside the platform where you submit that information, and your coach reviews that information and asks you questions, or gives you a thumbs up, says you're on the right track, keep going, or maybe says, it looks like you could think a little bit more deeply about that. What about this? What about that? So the coaches are interacting with you on the platform, sort of like messaging on the Launch1000 platform. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait,
Rachel?
Rachel, looks like you want to say something else.
I have one more part to that. So thank you
Sure.
for that so far. The other part is so it's through the platform, do they ever request the opportunity to talk to you one-on-one?
You mean as opposed to just messaging on the platform, actually having I don't know. I'm curious why you want to know.
No, only asking about expectations that would be set. So if it's just platform, then I'm clear, but just asking about this additional piece.
I'm not, my guess is that it's more likely that the launcher asks the coach for that than the coach asks the launcher for that.
And that's what I'm asking. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it might happen. I don't 100% know, but there would certainly be no expectation that, you know, at the drop of a hat, you could make yourself available. Like if you were working, they would never be interrupting your work, or, you know, if either side wanted to talk to the other, it would be scheduled in a way that would be not problematic for you in any way. But I don't know how often that happens.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we have another question. Shabaka is waiting on a list for residents in Westchester County. Can a person join knowing they will have a Westchester address before the program is complete?
So here's the situation about it. It's a gray area. This program is paid for by Westchester County's money, right? So that's taxpayer dollars. And we're responsible to the taxpayers. My belief, we believe, all of us on the 9th floor, that, you know, the Westchester taxpayers expect their dollars to be spent on Westchester, improving Westchester, and on Westchester residents. So it is a little bit of a gray area. If you're not actually living in Westchester now, I am not coming to your house to see whether you do or don't. You know, I can't, there's a little bit of the honor system here, but it's intended for Westchester residents, and that's as much as I can really say about it right now.
That's a good answer. We'll take it.
All right. Any more questions? I think I did see a question. If you have an idea, or if you don't have an idea, can the coaches help you form a business idea? Is that part of the process?
The program itself, there are exercises at the beginning in phase 1 and early phase 2 that have to do with identifying an idea. You won't need the coaches to help you with that. There's a whole process for looking at who you are, what's happening in your life, what are your skills, what are your desires, what are the resources you have, how much time do you want to put in? And there's like a whole Venn diagram called your sweet spot of, and an idea will emerge out of that. So don't worry if you don't have an idea right at the moment.
Thank you. Is that answering your questions, Charlotte Vincent?
Yes, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for coming. So any more questions from the Zoom room? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question, or put it in the chat so we can see it.
My question is, this annual event, how often do you open this launch up? Is it quarterly, annual?
This is only the second time we've done the program, and I would say that although I absolutely hope we will do it next year and every year, there's no guarantees in government that that will be the case, that the budget, that we'll have money in the budget to do it. I don't have, so I can't guarantee it, but I would say once a year, assuming we go forward. And I very, very much hope we do, and it is my plan, but I just can't guarantee it. Walter, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah.
For me, I'm recognized?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I had my question in my chat room, but I'll ask it here. I'm looking at your pie chart. You have online learning 25%, and the Tuesday evening, that is another 10%, and that's mandatory.
No, it's not mandatory.
What? That's not mandatory?
No, the only two parts that are mandatory are the online learning and working on your idea out in the world. That 80% is mandatory. The other the other 20% is optional but highly recommended.
Okay, but which is good. And I think looking at it from FEG perspective, we should be looking to complement your activity rather than trying to duplicate. We don't have the expertise for training people. That's clearly within Launch 1000. So my question is, how can we best dovetail what you're doing?
Excellent question.
in what area? Working with new ideas and community outlet? How can we create a
So this is great.
synergistic relationship?
It's so right now I'm focused entirely on outreach, and I'm grateful to all of you for hearing this, pitch and spreading the word far and wide within your community or anyone within Westchester. So outreach is the most important thing at this exact moment because we know a lot of people. We have a big mailing list, but we don't know everybody, and people will be listening to someone who's a trusted partner or advisor more than they might listen to me if they don't know me. So anything all of you, each of you can do to spread the word, that's what helps me the most right now. But it's critical for the launchers to have a strong network when they complete the program. And we're very interested in helping them meet the right people. I think someone mentioned Colby or Melanie, well, we are making introductions all the time. If Pam says to me, this launcher needs to meet a monkey, this launcher needs to meet an alligator, this launcher needs to meet a lawyer, this launcher needs to meet an expert in independent film, this launcher needs to meet an expert in grocery stores, right? So what I need, those requests all come to me. It's like a fire hose, and I need to know where the resources are, who the experts are, what organizations are out there in the world, in the Westchester world in particular, but in the broader world, so that I always can say, yes, I can introduce that launcher to an alligator or a monkey or a grocery store person or whatever other silly examples I just gave. So the very first thing you can do for me is to be part of that network, to be helping us help the launchers meet the right people. It's a little bit let's say in the vein of mentorship and expanding their network, supporting them. The next thing you could do is be customers of them. Keep an eye on our directory of launchers and see if you can buy anything from them that you genuinely need.
Mhm.
And I'm sure there will be other things along the way. I would love to count all of you as my partners in this work and be able to reach out to you as needs arise.
Thank
Hugh,
you.
I see you have your hand up. Unless, Walter, were you finished?
Yes, no, that's fine. Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Hugh.
Thanks, Deborah. First of all, fantastic program, and there's nothing like it in New York. And you should be very proud of what you've done. You built something wonderful over at New York Medical College, and then you've come over and done it again. And I congratulate you for that. I really do. The thing that I'd like to talk a little bit about us, FEG and you, Fairview Empowerment Group, because we can make an offer to you as well.
Sure.
One of the things that we are really looking to do over the next 6 months is to have events where these startup companies can actually test out their ideas in a pop-up situation.
Fabulous.
Okay, so, and they don't, I mean, we want everybody in the Fairview community in your program so they can be part of our program. But beyond that, we would be very happy. We have Colby actually is the manager of our new farmers market. Okay, which is something that the Fairview
One
community.
second. If you're not muted, please mute your phone. Thank you.
Which is something thank you, Johan. It's something the Fairview community's wanted for an awful long time, and now they're getting, and we're very excited about that. We want to make it as exciting. We don't want to make it just a farmers market. We want to make it more exciting than that. So to the point you can have people come to us on those kinds of things, absolutely. We also, as a group, have a fairly extensive network. I know you're a networker. We're networkers as well. In fact, Pam and I actually do work together. I think you know that. Okay. And are almost neighbors. But we want to network with you. We want to be able to use the synergy of this program to help what we want to do it, because our goal is to make the Fairview community self-sustaining economically. Now, I've heard that goal. I do work in New Rochelle. I've heard that goal in New Rochelle. You've heard that goal in New Rochelle, right? We're hoping that Fairview becomes a model. What we're doing in Fairview becomes a model for, first of all of unincorporated Greenburgh over time, but also, Westchester. And we're hoping that we can bring this together. And what you're doing as a basis for it is fantastic. You have our support, and we'll get the word out as much as we can. And we'd love to continue the networking.
Well, I love the idea of the pop-up. And what I would say is, and I don't know when you're going to have it up and running, but I would actually start with the launcher graduates, because the launcher graduates are more likely to be ready than the new launchers. You're not really ready for a pop-up market, at least until phase 4, and probably not until phase 6, which maybe doesn't mean anything to any of you, but it's months from now. But if you were to have that pop-up market ready, let's say during this summer farmers market season, then the launcher graduates, Pam, you and I should talk to Hugh about, and Colby, about how this could work. They're all in business. And so they are in a better position to show up and have inventory and have pricing and have a spiel and know what to say, and maybe have marketing materials. So I would love to give them that opportunity. And then as this year's launchers get ready for that, by all means, but they won't be ready in the early months.
And I think I can speak for the rest of the group, but we would absolutely welcome that opportunity to talk to you about that.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
fantastic.
As a matter of fact, Colby has been working on such a program behind the scenes. So I'm excited that, Hugh, you brought that up. There's some definite synergies here that are possible. Colby, I see a hand raised, but Tasha had her hand raised too. I think you were going to touch on it a little bit, but I'll let Tasha go first. We'll circle back to you, okay?
Thank you, Johan. Yes, so I am very much interested in your thoughts, Deborah, with working with launchers and local community groups for outreach and other kinds of things that you might need to further the advancement of this program, but not just this program. I think a lot of small business owners, once they launch, the process of working with government becomes a bit sometimes it's elusive. People don't really know how to get involved. They don't know how to participate. So what are your thoughts on that, with working with participants in the program, but also launchers after they've completed the modules, on how to engage in business with the county?
So on the side of the county providing programming to them, it's easy to stay in touch with us. On the side of doing business with the county, we have a very active MWBE and contracting effort, and most of our departments have quotas or set-asides or rules for doing business with small business owners and with minority and women-owned businesses. Martha Lopez is our expert in that arena. It's not my expertise, it's not my role, but I would encourage every small business owner in the county, if they can qualify for MWBE status, to get certified. There's unfortunately separate certifications for state, federal, and county, but it's worth it to do it. And then you get on the list for getting alerts when the contracts that are relevant to you are available. And that's practically as much as I know about it. Martha Lopez is the person, and I'm happy to connect you with her. And we're always telling all the businesses that we work with that they should do that when the time is right for them.
Thank you. She's on, and we've been talking about, maybe FEG partnering with her to do a presentation like yours.
Oh, you should, definitely. She's terrific.
Okay.
Thank you. My hand is raised, Johan, but I don't have no more questions. I just can't put it down.
I got you. I'll lower it for you. Colby.
Thank you.
Unmute yourself, Colby.
Okay, so what I wanted to offer as a suggestion that we can do in collaboration with FEG, Deborah, is we know that the launchers have to do prototypes. So we don't want to exclude those that are newer to the program from getting a feel of what it is to be a part of a pop-up. So part of what I would like to bring to the table and to our farmers market is to allow the current launchers to have the opportunity to bring their prototypes to the market to show those people that are at the market, that so therefore they can have some other insight from regular community people that they didn't choose on their own to go on over their prototypes, and they can get feedback right then and there from those people. Also, they can invite those people to maybe come onto a Zoom at a later date or something like that. And those also will be traction for their businesses in the future.
For sure. And I'm totally on board with that, Colby. It's just that if you think about the timing, people are going to start the program in April. They're going to move through phase 5. It's going to be May, the first half of June. I mean, phase 2 be the first half of June. They're going to get through phase 3. It'll be the second half of June, early July. Nobody will be ready for prototyping until July, August, September kind of thing. So
the market
that's
is
all
the way to November.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on board. I just, just reminding us that we have this year's launchers and last year's launchers to
definitely
participate.
Definitely.
All right, I see a question from Delia. Does any part of this program talk about a worker cooperative model?
No, I don't believe that it does. And I just want, maybe as a bigger answer than just no, the program is really an idea accelerator. And what I mean by that is, and I've been working with entrepreneurs my whole career. So what I find is that most entrepreneurs have so many ideas, so many thoughts about their business that are all jumbled up like a ball of yarn. Like, I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to do this other thing. And I can't do this first because I have to do this other thing first, but I wish I could get to that because that's urgent. And what I find is that one of the most important things that entrepreneurial programming can do for idea people is help them stretch it out into a straight line and think about what to do first and what to do next and what to do next after that, and kind of keep them moving along. And that is what this program will do. The question of what legal form your business should take, it's a very important question. It's a very technical question. It's a question that's partly legal and partly very much about your vision for the business and whether you want to be able to sell the business or leave it to your kids or leave it to your workers. Or those are important questions, but they're separate types of questions from what is your business idea and will it find a home in the market? What does the market tell you about your idea and whether it can work? So there are some places at the very end of the program where we do bring in lawyers and we start to help people think about what legal form their business should take. But this is not a program that's going to set you up with a tax ID number and set you up with an LLC or an ESOP or a worker cooperative or whatever else. So I don't mean to suggest that it's not important. It's just not the focus of this program. I hope that's so helpful.
Yeah, that's very helpful for me because I did think we would get our EIN number and
you can get your EIN in 5 minutes on the government website. It's totally free. I'll show you how to do it. It's irrelevant. It's a minute point for starting a business. Minute.
That's great because it is very important to hone in your idea and test your market. So that's great. Any more questions?
I like the idea of it being called an idea incubator. It sounds as if you create this environment where people could share ideas and build off of it. So that's really the launch for a strategic business, right? Understanding the direction you want to go and how you want to get there. So
you totally nailed it, Johan. That's exactly right. I'm going to let you give the presentation next time. I've been talking for like 40 minutes and we finally got to it.
All right. Are there any other questions? Tasha, would you mind giving the overview of FEG once again so folks understand The reason for
Certainly. I'll give you the abridged version. So the Fairview Empowerment Group was formulated by a group of people that are on this call. And if everybody could just put a thumbs up in their window so people could identify you as members of FEG. And we are started from neighborhood leaders, activists, business owners, board members, and engaged citizens. We want to listen and take action in empowering the Fairview community. And our mission is to create opportunities within the Fairview neighborhood by amplifying community voices. So we really need to hear from you. We put the survey link into the chat. Please fill out our survey. It will go right into our data service space. And also our FEG website pages are in the chat because we want to help improve living economic and social conditions. So we welcome you all people that live in the Fairview area and also Northern Elmsford. This is also a part of Greenburgh, and the same demographics live in that unincorporated part of Greenburgh, and very much tied to the Fairview corridor. So please put your information in the chat. We will reach out to you and invite you to our meetings. And also, just wondering by a show of hands, are there any people that are Fairview residents? Just by a show of hands. Fairview residents. Do we have any unfamiliar hands up, Johan, for our next activity, or are we all familiar?
I see Belinda is from Fairview, and
Okay.
I don't think I missed anyone else. Raise your hands one more time if you're from Fairview and not currently part of FEG.
Right.
I'm driving. I can't raise my hand. Sorry, it's Lisa Nero.
Okay, so
Hi,
we have Lisa and Belinda.
Okay. Okay. So in the interest of time, Belinda and Lisa, we will follow up with you to introduce you to the membership. And are you joining tonight? We would love to just have you come to our meeting.
Me?
Belinda and Lisa?
Oh yeah, I'm in, girl. You know, come on.
Lisa, is your email address in the chat?
Now, you know you are not supposed to be texting and driving. 183.
Oh, you're driving. Okay. Sounds like you know Tasha. So we'll follow with you. How about you, Belinda? Did you add your email address?
Yes, I did place it in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful.
Wonderful, Belinda. We had a packed meeting this evening, so we're not going to do Meet the FEG members, but we would love to have you and welcome aboard. And we will be in touch with meeting information, Belinda.
Thank you very much.
And we hope that everyone here tonight really enjoyed this presentation and will sign up for Launch 1000. All you need is an idea. And then let this idea accelerator, incubator, help you form that idea into a business. So with that, I'll sign off and I'll turn it over to our chair, Johan.
Deborah, I just want to thank you for taking the time to meet with our community members. It was an awesome presentation. We look forward to our participants, both from Fairview and Westchester at large, participating in both your program. And hopefully there's an opportunity for us, as Hugh and Colby mentioned, for us to have our synergies connect and make something great happen out of this program and what we're doing at FEG as well.